going to talk about groove welding symbols. We're going to jump right in. We have several different grooves. We have our parent material here, and really all these grooves are is depending on how that parent material is prepped. So the first one to start with is pretty simple. It's a square groove. We have the weld symbol for that. Just two lines there. This one's showing an arrow side. So this one actually has no preparation. It's two plates that are squared off 90-degree angles, and we see this little gap there that we weld. This one has no preparation to it. It grinded it down, it beveled it, didn't do anything to it, it's squared off. Like I said, that's pretty simple. You think, when would you use that? A lot of times I use that on thinner material, especially in the aerospace world. The aerospace aluminum certification we do here is a single pass square groove on aluminum. It's pretty simple, no preparation. The next one is a V-groove. That's a very common one that we're going to use here at Drake. So V-groove, we have two pieces of parent material. They do have some preparation. And it doesn't necessarily matter what technique we use to prepare the plates as long as they're done right. So we could have took a grinder and grinder rock and put a hand bevel on this. We could have beveled it with a plasma torch, oxyacetylene torch, whatever the case may be. But now we've made a V in that plate. Both pieces of material have been prepped. This is used in all industries. This is what all of our certification tests here at Drake, for the most part, will be used. Even our pipe, all of our plate structural stuff. Very common one. Again, here's a welding symbol for that. This is what an arrow side V groove would look like. So let's give you a good example here. It's possible you could have both side V groove. So it looks a little bit different. We would have preparation on both sides of the part. Obviously those would be a little more symmetrical than they are, but you get the point. We have a V groove on both sides. Now, very similar to a V groove, we have a bevel groove. Same thing, we got our plates here. This one's showing an arrow side bevel groove, so only one of those plates have preparation, and one of them is left unprepped with a good square 90-degree on it. So this is to be a bevel groove used in all kinds of different industries. We might really one or two out here. We probably wouldn't certify in that. We'd like to put more welds in the V groove. As you can see, this is going to take a lot more welds to fill up than just one of them being prepped. So we want to get all the practice we can here. Another example, you could have had a both side bevel groove. Then it will look similar to that. So where this plate had both sides prepped, this plate had no preparation. Alright, we're going to jump into the J-grooves. J-groove is pretty unique, mostly used in the pipe industry. A J-groove and J-groove pipe is specially prepped by a machine. It comes here this way. We have one pipe here, one plate, has a radius to it, but still leaves a good flat edge here. Now these things are a little bit tougher to weld because if you're trying to get full penetration through that, it's a thick area there that you have to burn through with that root pipe, so it can be tougher to do. But if one of those plates is prepped with a J-groove, we call it J-groove. Has the J-groove symbol here. Very similar to that is a U-groove. A U-groove is where we have two J's put together. So a J would look like this. Now we put, a U would look like that when we put two J's together. We can see the weld symbol for that. Very possible that we can have one on both sides, just like we do with the V's and all that good stuff. So we say we have both sides on our weld symbol. should look something similar to that. Not super common we see this, but it is possible. And that pretty much does it for all of our different grooves, except for the flares. And flares are pretty popular. And one more thing on the U before I get off on the flares. A lot of times when we do back grinding, it forms a U groove. So say we welded up one of these square grooves, welded from the top side here. After we welded it, we decided to go back, take our grinder and grind the groove into that, and put some weld on the back side. It would form a U groove after we ground down that old weld. So that's also used in the back grinding process. Really big and pipe. That's basic, all the basic grooves. Now we're going to jump into the flares. They're a little bit different, but they're used in just about every industry. Give us some room here to write. So a flare, we have a flare V and a flare bevel. And a flare bevel groove. A flare V, a very good example of that is we had two pieces of tubing or two pieces of pipe set together. Put those together, it's going to form a V here, and on this side. We can weld that thing up, put us a weld in there. That's a good example of a flare V. Like I said, that can be used in any industry where we're putting two tubes together. A flare bevel would be if we had good flat plates, maybe we set a tube down on it. Now we've got a flare, but we still have a squared side to it. So that's why it's only a flare bevel. Again, we put a weld in there, weld that tube on there. So two flare bevels make a flare V. And we have the welding symbol for that too. We'll make sure I get those right. Sometimes I get these confused. So the flare V, the arrow side will look like this. Flare bevel, be a straight line and then the flare. Again, you can have those on both sides, other side, just like you could with all the other grooves. And that's all the groove welds and the American Welding Society recognizes. Again, these are popular in any industry. We will do a few. We're really going to focus heavy on the big groove because it has the most welding in it. We won't get the most weld practice. And that's it for groove welds.